me. I have to get rid of all the other noise so I can actually sit down and hear it. That's the key, is being able to.
I would have passed off that one episode at the hospital as a fluke. That's not going to happen again.
Which is exactly why my guest and I wanted to make sure that we talked about it today, because it is important. And if we don't talk about it, we can't prevent it. What am I talking about? Today, we're going to talk about suicide. We both have had those thoughts, have had those actions, and we have loved ones that were even able to carry through those actions. And it is on both of our hearts very heavy. So I knew I needed to bring her on and help her, help me, help you figure out how best to see the signs of someone who may be suicidal. And then what do you do if you think that maybe that is happening with someone you care about? How do you see the signs? When you see the signs, what do you do from there? It's a tough subject to talk about. That's why we're going to do it for you and give you the information that we have. We are both in the medical field as well. So you're getting the medical side of things as well as first-person experience with these thoughts and actions. But we're also going to talk about self-love and loving yourself to life. You're going to hear that phrase later on in the show. You're not going to want to miss it, because it was such an aha moment for me. It was like, oh, I love that phrase. And she's also a dear sister of mine here at the Believe in Your Dreams television network. She also has her own show. We'll let her talk about that as well, because you're going to want to catch her. So without further ado, I've hyped her up so much. Now let's bring her out. So let's go ahead and get started on the one-on-one conversation I got to have with Miss Monica Debro.
Question and a good start for this conversation, Tracy. One thing about me is I'm a very open and transparent person. I feel free to share my story, because as I share mine, the hope is that it is helping someone else who is caught up in either a domestic violence relationship or low self-esteem, low self-worth, and they're dealing with thoughts of suicide. I am a 2-time survivor of physical domestic abuse and a 1-time survivor of a relationship that was not physically abusive, but it was mentally, emotionally, financially abusive. And I say that to say that, sometimes people don't realize that just because it's not physical, oh, it's not an abusive relationship. Yes, it is. Yes. It doesn't have to be physical. It wasn't until I was well into my adult years, past the physical abusive relationships, and was in that one that was mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially abusive, that I started feeling this weight on me. And I started feeling as if nobody cared, that my life didn't matter, that I'm doing all these things for everybody else, but what's being done to make sure that I'm healthy?
And so many times, so many men and women I know, when they're in one abusive relationship, in any kind of abuse, they end up finding themselves in repetitive abusive relationships. And I'm one of those. I have been in multiple myself, so I can definitely point my finger right back at me and how did I not see it? Why did I keep going back to it? But it becomes our comfort zone.
Right. So that lets you know that we can put on a mask. We can pretend that everything is all right in our world. And on the inside, we are breaking down. We are hurting. We're not being truthful with how we're feeling. We're not sharing with others, because what's the quote? I don't want anybody in my business.
Right.
So we're not being honest. And for me, I was a pastor's wife. So I definitely had to hold it together, as what they say. So for those next couple of weeks, I thought, how am I going to end my life? I can't do it until I finish this class.
Right.
So I specifically made sure, and I was intentional about making sure that I finished that class. And on the night of that class is when I attempted to take my life. I thought this will be all over soon. Let me finish teaching this class. And as right now, you may not be able to get to them to have a face-to-face conversation, but get them on Zoom.
Yeah.
Get them on FaceTime. Get them on WhatsApp. And just ask them, how are you doing? And I don't want the, oh, I'm doing fine answer. I want that truth of how are you doing?
Right.
How is your mental state? Tell me what's going on in your life. And don't do it to be nosy. Too many people do it to be nosy so they can be up in other people's business.
Yes.
Be authentic with asking
Good
people.
intention.
With intention. And then we have to get out of that mode of when people ask us, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Knowing that we were going to stop letting people be in our thoughts and in our minds, and we not pick up the phone and check on them. I said, but when you get that impression that keeps coming on you to check on somebody, pick up that phone and call.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing such a raw and emotional story. If you are even in that place of considering it, it's time to get help. And like you said, it can get better. It will get better. There may be some things you need to do. You may need to go get some counseling, talk to your pastor, talk to someone, but reach out and grab someone that actually cares and wants to help you. Absolutely. And
I had to love myself, Tracy, in order to shift from being broken to allowing God to heal me, for him to put me back together. You know, when we love ourselves truly and authentically, we embrace our value, we embrace our self-worth, and we are very particular about the people, places, and things that bring us energy, the people, places, and things that take our energy away.
amen.
My thing is, I want people to learn how to love themselves to life. When you love me to life, you're praying for me, you're holding me accountable, you're making sure that I don't slip and slide down a rabbit trail that I shouldn't be on. You're praying for me. You're telling me, Monica, what are you doing? That is not in line with your purpose. It is not in line with who God created you to be.
Yes.
You're making sure that I don't slip. The reason why I want us to say, I love you to life, is because I've almost been loved to death.
Sad. Thank you so much. My goodness, I got to pull myself together here.
I think both of us got the tears popping up on the eyes today.
Woo!
Tracy, are you loving yourself to life? So I actually have a television show also on the Believe in Your Dreams television network called Love Yourself to Life that will be airing on Sundays at 7 p.m. We'll have raw discussions about those topics that are often avoided but necessary to discuss. Thank you so much, Tracy.
Head. Boom, redirect back to you. Boom, redirect. You heard it. You were there. So why should that football player listen to his critique if he wouldn't go to him for advice? It's going to be a rockin' show.
That's right. The Sassy Sisters.
The Sassy Sisters are here.
You betcha.
All right, let's do this.